Afternoon, mate. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm very good,
Lovely.
thank you. Had a lovely weekend away. Just been out
Yeah.
for a morning run. I'm all good. I'm like a new man.
You're a new man. You're refreshed. It's just quickly, people watching who don't know, just please introduce yourself and people, who you are, what you do. That'd be beautiful.
Cool. So I'm Matt. I play in a band called Haggard Cat. So I'm the vocalist. I also play guitar, any other instrument that you can throw at me, but generally, if you want it to be any good, it has to be the guitar.
Fair enough. Not the saxophone, though.
Not the saxophone.
Get on to that in a bit.
There's a saxophone on the new album, but that's our good friend Willie G from Black Peaks.
That caught me off guard.
A much more talented band than myself.
Literally, I was listening to the album today whilst doing my workout, just sweating it out. And literally, I was just doing my push-ups and the saxophone came in and I was like, okay, yeah, I just have to stop.
This is no good. I'm relaxed now.
I'm relaxed now. It's like I'm meditating. I was reading on your band's website bio and you said you had a tradition back when you first started gigging of downing whiskey whilst playing which I love. I'm all for that in general without the gigs. But right now, we just have whiskey and no gigs. So how are you guys as a band coping without that?
I've probably consumed a little bit too much over the last 4 or 5 months, I'd say. Like, what else is there to do?
Yeah, you're not alone in that.
No. So I guess we were a lot younger at the time. But yeah, it's true. We used to have our favourite used to be Woodford Reserve because, expensive taste.
The smoky stuff.
Used to get paid about 50 quid for the gig, spend most of that on the whiskey. We challenged ourselves, in a real kind of bravado-ish, childish way. We're like, bet we can finish this by the end of the gig. And once someone's seen that once, that becomes your thing. Whiskey in particular gives you this feeling of like, I'm doing much better than I'm actually doing right now. Gigs in our heads were, God, that was like Robbie at Nebworth levels that we were playing at. But in reality, probably Robbie now is what we were. There's one in particular, I think this will have been back in early teenies, I'm going to say. So
right.
2012, 2013, that sort of time. But my partner at the time had to come and drag me off stage. She was like, you've played enough songs now. That's enough. That's all I can remember.
I can't tell if I respect that or I don't think that's the right thing to do.
I don't think I've ever been dragged off of a stage before. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, so I would say we've experimented with that enough, and now no one has to. Try it. Nobody at home try it. It's not a good look. Try
it once so you know it. So
we had to try it
again. Was whiskey key part of the process for the second album? Back to the saxophone, Common Sense Holiday, which you just released right before lockdown, I believe.
Yeah, literally like days before we got locked down.
But you still put it out, and it's fantastic. And so, what was the process for that? What's the word for it? Can't remember the word for it. With the money.
What is the je ne sais quoi?
What is it?
The inspiration.
The inspiration for it, the praise, as well as how is it comparing to Challenger, your first album, in terms of the influences, the guests you have on? I mentioned the saxophone earlier. How did that come about? There's a lot to unpack that's so close to home yet different to the first album. So I'll need to chat about that.
Thank you very much. First of all, we're both very proud of it. It was obviously a very sad time for it to have been released because we were all geared up to go. We'd been kind of waiting for it for a good we've been leading up for it for about 2 years, as you know, for it just to kind of come out and then nope, can't tour. So we moved the tour to September. Now we've moved the tour again to next March and April. Fingers crossed that live music is back by then. I'm confident. Yeah. I think, but to be honest, I think we might have just scraped the end of September, but I wanted it to be absolutely as safe as possible for everybody coming along. But yeah, so Common Sense Holiday, I think the main difference there with the album, and it's probably something that does come across as well, in the main difference between that and Challenger before it, is it was the first time that me and Tom kind of sat down and went, "Oh, let's write an album as this band. Let's kind of focus on a body of work from start to finish that is all this album." Up until that point, it had more been it was a jam band. Like we got together in a room together and just had as much fun as we possibly could. And we'd walk out of the room like every day with a couple of songs, and was like kind of half remember them, half not. And then we turn to the studio to record them and be like, I think this is how this one goes. We spent 2 years kind of discovering like what the new, like more thoughtful Haggard Cat sounded like, and that turned into Common Sense Holiday. I mean, it just so happened at the time that the world around us was getting like more and more like crazy every day, like, and there was not much else really that we could write about. I think like if you're in that position, I've said it a lot, but if you're in a position where like you have a platform and you're writing words down, and you know people are listening to those, like you do have a little bit of responsibility to comment. Like I don't like I'm not a pundit by any means, but I have an opinion, and I think it's a good idea to kind of engage that opinion. And you know, you have younger listeners, or you have people that aren't engaged as well, and the least you can do is kind of add them to the conversation. If you're not writing about that, then I don't know, I guess you're writing about love.
it's one of
love
the two.
And love, death, politics, dogs. They're the 4 important things in life.
That's all you need, isn't it? That's all you got to remember. It balances out. It all balances out in the end.
All balances out in the end.
It's great that you mentioned the idea of like conversation, because I think that's just been such a key part of the last, well, now 5 months, I feel. Like even from beyond protests and just basic civil rights of people, just also like in general live music, I feel there's been a lot more attention turned to like behind the scenes of it. Like with the music venue trust, we're talking about people, like the actual jobs at risk as well regarding that. We're still, in general, still having music to put people on stages to keep these people having jobs. And that's beautiful, I feel. Exactly.
Like that you've pulled up exactly the right thing there. It's like this wasn't getting talked about until it all got taken away from us.
Well, exactly,
we didn't like a normal kind of gig goer, like myself included, like you go to get to a gig to see the band, you don't even think there's a promoter in there. There's all the people like running the bar, there's all the security running that, there's the sound engineers, there's the light techs, like there's all that like without any of it the show wouldn't exist. And you know what, that's only in the kind of DIY music and grassroots music scene that conversation's come out. Like there's been so many other things that have been more kind of dragged up and talked about in depth through this time. I think it's given us all time to actually be a little bit more intrepid and focus. Conversation is the most important thing we have. Like you could be right or wrong at the start of it and kind of come out knowing a lot more. Like it's not really about having the correct opinion. It's about kind of being willing to take on things as you go and learn.
Yeah.
Because I'll hold my hands up and say, like, I haven't always had the right end of the stick through anything. Like, I don't have a soapbox, but, you know, I have a voice. So, so I use it. That's the idea anyway.
Bands are still keeping away of themselves busy, I feel. Like, you guys played 2,000 screens. Was it last month? I can't remember when it was supposed to be.
I think it was July. Yes,
it was July. And you're doing things social media, you're doing like Haggard Mondays, you've been doing tutorials for your songs, which has been really cool. So like, how does it feel doing, like, was it weird doing things like that? Or did it just feel like just a general, oh, this is a cool thing we'll do? And I'm wondering, like, have you learned things as a band, even without that pure raw experience at all?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it was very, very strange starting out. I think a lot of bands will have found this, but for the first couple of months, I think a lot of people kind of like reserve themselves like back in, and like there wasn't a lot of kind of talking at all. I found a lot that because we'd just released an album as well, like we'd kind of post something out into the world to crickets and nothing, and be like, where is everybody? Everyone's hiding, everyone's gone away. And I think it was a period of learning, like not just myself, but everyone within the industry. And things do get released as and when they're kind of thought up, like almost like a constant stream of consciousness kind of coming out to SoundCloud, like not moderated by anybody. It's just put out and it's there. And that's as far as it goes. And that way, you can churn out a new song every week, a new album every 6 months.
That's not what you want. That's not what you want, ultimately.
It probably goes back to what I was saying about that first Haggard Cat album. It's like, it's fun. It's fun. You can kind of go in and write a song in a day and then come out, and it's fun to be there. And there's an energy in that immediacy. But from a listener just at home, like, you don't feel involved with that. Like, there's nothing to kind of dig up except, oh, I know what was on your mind that day.
Yeah.
We've actually found something that I've really enjoyed is, as part of the Haggard Mondays and everything, we did a playthrough series that kind of crops up every now and then, like, where we'll take one of the songs from the new album, and either me and Tom will kind of like do a little lesson first, and then we'll kind of show exactly how it's played. And I've never even considered doing that before, but it's really fun to unpack it for me, because then I revisit a song that I might not have revisited it in that much depth until we got to play it live. And hopefully it gives a bit more kind of insight to people wanting to play guitar. I think the idea mainly behind it is I wanted to, I thought about myself learning guitar at like 13, 14. And I think it was just before like YouTube was really kind of a thing, and there wasn't a great access to lessons and things. I think there used to be like some TV channels at the time where you could have like, it'd be like a 5-minute lesson with a load of like adverts scrolling across the bottom and stuff. And I used to kind of pick techniques and things from that. But I think back to that kid then, like a 13, 14-year-old at school, if like a member of a band that they liked or they'd heard of was then giving them a lesson to one of their songs, I think that'd be such an invaluable resource.
Totally,
So I think that's something, I think we've got something to add to the pot there. So you don't have to be, you have to find out these more thoughtful ways of engaging that isn't just, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song. Because we're not presenters, but we are musicians at the end of the day. So there is something we can give and offer.
Yeah.
I realize I'm talking like it's the most selfless thing on earth. I was going crazy. I was going absolutely mad not being able to go outside. Like, for the first 2 months of lockdown, me and Tom, like, we spoke maybe once every couple of weeks or something. Like, we both kind of like, we became hermits. Like, it was just not really by choice or anything, just because we were taking it all in and unpacking it and being right, like, what do we do now? It was quite obviously it was a very disappointing time for everyone. It continues to be, like, with events kind of continuing to be cancelled, although a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel is seeing the festivals now come out for next year. My point is, it wasn't selfless. I was going nuts. I was kind of having an identity crisis, just being like, well, if I'm not in a band, who am I? If I don't make music, who am I? And then kind of set a camera up one day and went, hey, I don't know who's watching this, but here's how to play first word.
Nice.
And then was like, oh, that kind of made me feel a bit better for an afternoon. And then that's kind of steamrolled from there. We're very lucky to live. Obviously, there's reasons we're not lucky right now, but we're very lucky that it happened in this time when we have so much access to information and so much technology to allow us to still connect with each other.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, with that connection, for my last quick question, really, what sort of music has been like soundtracking this period for you? Like, other than like your own album and writing material, what's been like your go-to rock bed, like old, new, artist, album, anything like that?
I'll tell you what, actually. So I'm on my run today. I listened to. Do you know the band Ohms? So.
No.
A band from really down south. I think they're from Margate, actually. So really like South Coast. And they released an album. I think they released it last month now. Album's called Close. Band's called Ohms with 2 H's. OHHMS. I hope I'm spelling that right. And this album is the most crushingly heavy thing. Like,
nice.
And it starts on a really introspective level as well. So I kind of like put my headphones on. I was like, Ohms, I like that band. Let's listen to the new album. Kind of start on the run. It's really nice and gentle. I was like, oh, okay, new direction. And then the first kind of chord hits, and it just went, oh! I had the best run today. I feel like my legs were dead, but I was just like, oh my god, this is so good. So for one, like, and they're not a new discovery because I've loved them for a long time, but I've only just got around to listen to their new album, and I would recommend it. Well, especially, I feel like I've ruined the surprise of it now, just by spoilers ahead. Definitely their album. I think a lot of people would pick this one out, but Run the Jewels 4 was amazing.
Totally, yeah.
So good, so relevant. Like, there's lyrics within there, like, that seem to comment on, like, the past, like, 3 to 4 weeks, like, before the album came out. And I was, how, like, it kind of highlights exactly how relevant, like, obviously it's been brought like that. It was the George Floyd situation, I believe, that it references. So obviously that makes it seem so relevant to now, but it hits you home even more knowing that they wrote it a year ago, because then you're like,
before it happened. Well, it already was happening, but
it's not unique to now. It's a problem that has been ongoing for the last 50, 60 years. Like, it's not, and we're nowhere near to get to making things better, but you know, we're having the conversation now, which is great. Like, but everything about that RTJ album is absolutely incredible. And I remember, like, I think that was the first new album at least that I listened to this year, where it ended and I went, play that again. And I think I did it like 3 or 4 times, like, and like I went out for a walk with it, and then I kind of sat in my room with it and was like, I just need to, like, I need to hear every word of this and know like everything that's going on. But no, that's a very moving album.
Any last minute things you want to throw out there? Bits of promotion, anything at all?
Be good to each other.
Nice.
But yeah, I just, if you're having a bad time, if you're feeling kind of recluse into yourself, listen to the music, turn it up loud. If it's Haggard Cat, even better.
Yeah, listen to Haggard Cat.
I feel like a salesman. And close the briefcase.
like open the jacket up, it's just your records like all over it. Like, these nice CDs, would you like some?
Oh man, I got a new order through of our Common Sense Holidays CDs and vinyls the other day, because we had to restock because we sold out. Yay! Yeah. So I got a restock of them, and I had my whole like flat just full of these. That's exactly what I felt like. I was like, I feel like I should go out in a big like trench coat.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful. Right, man. Thank you very much for swinging by today. Hope you're all good. Hope it stays cool where you are.
No problem. I hope it cools down where you are.
So do I. Thank you, man. Take care of yourself, all right?
Take care.
Yeah.